For most agents, qualifying a lead means asking if they or anyone they know is looking to buy or sell real estate in the next 96 months, whatever it is. The truth is, we're just qualifying leads. We're not qualifying relationships with this simple, direct statement. I'm all for asking for the referral and being as direct as possible. However, putting a little into the relationship has changed my career. Sold almost 500 homes doing it. I'm going to tell you the exact frameworks I use so you can take it forward and start seeing success in your sphere of influence business. What's up, guys? I'm Jeremy Kane. I coach agents every single day on how to grow their business through sphere of influence. I am the Real Estate Agent Playbook on YouTube, so thank you so much for tuning in. I'm also a founding member of Carbon Collective, a coaching group that we put together to meet agents where they are at. If you have the, desire to hop in there, we are offering a 14-day free pass to everybody who comments Carbon Collective launch below. And I would love to see you in that community and see if coaching, similar to the style that I'm going to coach you today on this video, we can get you in there. You can see it. You can see, multiple coaches. There's 12 coaches in there. And we're coaching on meeting agents right where they're at. So check that out. So first and foremost, I want to talk about the lead piece, right? Every single lead should be an opportunity for you to create a raving fan. So even if they do not, directly purchase a house in the next 30, 60, 90 days, there is so much value in that relationship, right? If we start looking at the relationship as a seed to grow our garden, this is something that needs watering. Otherwise, it'll stay in the dirt forever. The truth is that when you are talking to somebody, you get asked a question about how's the market, they are technically qualifying you. They know for some reason down the line that they may need your services, right? Yes, there is the small talk and all of that, but if you can take that small talk and make it not just, a blip on the radar or, something that's more memorable, that's exactly how you get into the mix with them, as a agent-client relationship, but also as a client referral resource, right? And that's where it starts. You have to be willing to go into the relationship, willing to bring whatever value you have. And you say, well, Jeremy, my value is I'm a real estate expert and I know everything about real estate. Well, the truth is you don't know everything about real estate, but also the transaction is just a piece of our job, right? The law, the transaction, the contracts, all of that is actually a very small piece of our job. It just happens to be the piece that is most associated with getting paid, which is key. But the relationship, we are marketers. 50-75% of our time should be going to marketing and advertising our business and our personal brand so that we can grow that brand, right? Once we get into the mix and people raise their hand and say that, yeah, let's move forward, well, that's a great time to shine for just that real estate piece, for just that piece that, you went to school for, right? You went to get your license and you pass the test and you keep your license low. That's that part. But the marketing part is where we can get creative and where we can build these relationships. So what are you bringing of value to that relationship? For me, it's my network, right? I look for ways to grow my, vendor list, to grow my community list, to grow my small business in my community list. Because the truth is, I want to, first of all, make this person understand that I have an entire army, an entire team behind me to help them with whatever they want, right? Yes, if it's buying and selling real estate, that's me. But if it's HVAC, exterior maintenance, landscaping, kitchen remodel, design, all of those things are people that I have in my crew that I can absolutely be like, oh, you know what? You have a plumbing issue? Let's call this guy, right? Let's make that together. I'm giving this guy business, right? If that's his name, this guy plumbing. And I'm also helping my, contact or my client, get something accomplished that they need. So I'm bringing that item of value. Yes, I have vast knowledge about the market. Not everyone really cares about the market, especially if they just bought a home last year, right? But they know and they trust that if they come to my social medias, they can find out all about the market, all about the contracts, all about the strategy. But for this piece, I'm just building relationships. How can I connect you with somebody else in my network that, is going to change your life in some way? Not like drastically, not like win the lotto, change your life, but like help you fix a problem in your life that you need. So the point is, I want you to start seeing the value in every single conversation you have and start bringing the value to that conversation. Not just seeing it as, okay, this is one person, they might buy a house. Oh, they're 2 years down the road, let's throw them in a CRM and forget about them. We can absolutely track that and grow that, but it's going to take input over time from you that's not just like, hey, are you ready to buy or sell? Hey, are you ready to buy or sell? Are any of your friends ready to buy or sell? No, we need to have that piece so that our systems and our CRM are absolutely pushing the needle as that goes. If you're interested in getting our version of Lofty completely unlocked, comment Carbon Collective CRM below, and I will certainly give you that information, as my business partner and I just launched a new CRM initiative to give you more clarity in the CRM game. So make sure that you are taking that information that they do give you, that they do divulge, and putting it in a pipeline. Because the whole point of this is to build a pipeline of potential buyers and sellers. And if they're 2 years out, that's great. That means in 18 months or 20 months, you don't have to be finding new people. They'll be coming around. So you're continuing to have conversations, you're continuing to grow your business. And if you're organized enough, you'll be able to keep these touch points, making sure they're ready, making sure they're doing what they have to do along the way. And then all of a sudden they'll pop into your, future sale pipeline 3 to 6 months out, and you've mastered that. But it doesn't happen unless you're bringing value to the table, even if they're not ready to go right here, right now. So as we get going, we have to understand that building rapport the right way is the key, right? So we need to look for alignment. We need to look for shared interests, shared timing, shared frustration, shared goals, and shared community. If we can get them talking about that, and curiosity equals, connection, then we can start to push the needle forward. We can start to figure out what exactly the pain points are. And so to get into that piece, we need to kind of build rapport, see where they're at, find out where they're at, make sure that you're infiltrating some of your personality into that conversation as a caring, person who's looking to build a lifelong relationship, just not get that transaction and turn them and burn them. If they wanted somebody to open a door for them, get out of their way, and purchase a home, they have opportunities to click on a lot of buttons on the internet to get that done pretty easily. But they need to know that representation is the key. They need to know that it's not just going to be a simple handoff and you're washing your hands of it and you're on your way. That's how you build a brand. That's how you grow trust and curiosity in your business. So as we're doing that, the natural pain point framework comes. So you start to ask about now, hey, how's it going with your house? What's your living situation? What's going on? What could be better, right? So you're talking about that. You're looking into those things after they already know that you're in real estate. They already know that you have 3 kids, and they already know all of that stuff because you've built that connection. Be like, okay, tell me about what's going on, right? How's the house? You mentioned this, that, and the other thing when we were, getting going here. So what's really going on? Is there anything I can help you with? As it pertains to your home. What I do is I build a vendor list every single year that I want to have the top-notch people. So what do you do for work? Is there anything that I can do to help you and drive business your way? Oh, you're, a postman or a post lady. That's great. Have you had anybody work on your home or come in, or do you know any contractors that you would trust to do absolutely the best job for you? If so, let's make an introduction. Let me know, right? Because then you're starting to give them opportunity to introduce people right here, right now. So you're looking for those problems. You don't have to be kind of that direct, what's going on with your house or anything like that. But in these conversations, if there is rapport built, you're already working down that line to start building that relationship. And in the event that they hear you say, oh, I'm trying to build this top-notch elite, service, vendor list where all my clients can come to me for anything. Well, that puts a note in their head that, hey, I can call Jeremy no matter what I need, and he's going to have some resources for me. And that's exactly what I want to do. So then if, it's going fine and whatever, then I start talking about someday, right? Okay, what's your plans? What's your dream house look like? Where do you want to, where do you want to live? Where do you want to lay down roots? Or, if they have a home, like what's this look like? You have 3 or 4 kids, they're all getting older. Like, are you going to continue to maintain this property? Do you need some help? Do you need anyone to help you maintain the property? Those kind of things will start opening the information up, and they will prospect themselves, right? This is very much like, when people ask, how's the market? And you respond, it depends. Why do you ask? They're going to start opening up when you're talking about someday. Where's the goals? Where do you want to get to? And this is a huge piece of my annual review. You can check out that video and learn exactly what I do to, start, putting these conversations out there with my past clients. But we're talking about leads, right? So we're talking about someday. We're future pacing them. What's that look like? How long does that look like? And we can go from there, because they're going to start telling you what their desires are. And at some point, if they're renting or if they're a homeowner, a move is going to be in their future. Statistics say 5 to 7 years, maybe getting a little bit longer now, but we need to start talking about someday. We need to start saying, okay, where's this go? Oh, I'd really love to talk about, getting an investment property sometime, XYZ. This is just them prospecting. So talk about the future, talk about where they're going. And, eventually they know that it's real estate, and they'll kind of guide that, conversation that way once you're really good at this. But also, who cares if it's like, hey, we want to move to, Europe, and, this is a dream of ours and all of the things. Great. Well, then you already have something. You have a common point of interest that you can reach out. Oh, my travel agent friend has this great deal to Europe. You can send it to them later. It doesn't matter, right? If you're growing this profile of people where you can be the ultimate resource, you have that opportunity by future pacing them and seeing what someday looks like. So now you have now and you have someday, and you can identify the gap, the pain points. They've probably mentioned some of the things. Unfortunately, we are sometimes lean towards the negative. So when you can find those pain points and you can say, oh man, I need to make that connection. I am telling you right now, I do not leave a new conversation without at least 2 connection points for somebody, right? And we're not talking just like, oh, excuse me, I tripped on your foot or whatever at a Bronco game. We're talking about, if there's a true conversation that goes on, I'm like, oh, I need to connect you to this. I need to connect you to this. Whether it's an agent, that I'm connecting to certain resources, industry partners or whatever, or it's a client, I'm always looking to make at least 1 or 2 connections from every conversation. Because then I'm telling them, oh, you need to talk to Nicole over here at, Movement Mortgage, or you need to talk to Jimmy over here at Everett's Lending, or you need to talk to Scott, my electrician. And I'm making these connections, and I'm making them all work together so that they have resources in their business, so that they can always attribute that relationship back to me, so that they understand exactly what's going on. So that's the thing, is identify the gap and then make connections. And that is exactly how I've built my entire business, right? So if you do that, that's the small win, right? Here's what I've seen work when people call Nicole and they're working on their credit. Or here's what I've seen work when people call, my plumber when their water heater's getting about 10 years old, right? He'll look at it, he'll make sure it's good, he'll service it, but then, he'll make sure that it doesn't explode all over your, basement, hopefully, right? So you're offering those small wins in the form of connection. And this is exactly what has helped me grow. But the foreseen circumstance that I benefit from this is I am driving these connections to different people, so that when they need connections, they're also coming to me. When they need real estate, they're also coming to me. So it's all about becoming the ultimate connector. So instead of, qualifying the lead right away, and if they're not ready to buy in the next 90 days, move on to the next, it's qualifying that relationship, making connections, and adding them to your pipeline, whether it's now or in 5 years. This is an absolutely massive opportunity, because here's what I know about people. They hang out with people that are in similar, life situations than they are. When people have kids, they hang out with people that have kids. When people don't have kids, they hang out with people that don't have kids, right? It's a perfect example. So if you have somebody who's a renter, they probably hang out with some other renters. and first time home buyer kind of situation. So if you have that and you're providing this utmost value, this person might not be ready, but their best friend down the road that they hang out with every Friday and Saturday night might be ready. And what's that connection look like? Oh, I talked to Jeremy, and even though I'm not ready to buy a house in the next 2 years, he actually gave me his time, he gave me the insights, and kind of started laying the path for the future as they go. And he also connected me with somebody that can get my credit repaired, right? That's the real conversations that are happening within my business, because I'm ultimately dedicated to making sure everyone has a connection point and that I am figuring out exactly what's going on by talking about the here and now, future pacing them, and then filling those gaps with connection. And ultimately, as we step back, this is just a piece of me building my brand. Every single conversation that I have is putting my name out there to 1 or 2 people if I make a connection, or maybe 3 people if I was able to connect one person to two different people. And so if I'm building that in that little network, and they know all 3 of those people, the conversation person, the client, potential client, and the 2 vendors that I connected, they all know that I'm working hard to do things to change their lives, to change their business, to change their real estate situation. And so if those 3 people know that I'm working harder than most, and I'm making connections, and I'm sending the most business to the vendors, and I'm connecting the consumer with the people that actually can help move the needle, then that is 3 people out of a simple conversation that can all be raving fans. As we kind of push this forward, that's a huge piece of my business, right? Is if I can take this conversation and turn it into 3 different connection points and 3 different people having, some influence in their life change, whether it's their business or, moving towards home ownership or moving towards downsizing or whatever it is, then that is 3 times the amount of people that can raise their hand and be like, hey, you need to talk to Jeremy Kane. And so that's exactly what the point of the business is growing that brand, so that if you need something, you call Jeremy. If you want to get set on a path, whether it's in the next 2 weeks or the next 5 years, Jeremy is going to help you and treat you as, a potential prospect or a client. Then that helps grow the business as you go, and it leads to consistency, which ultimately is the key to success in real estate. So it's not necessarily about hang them and bang them, call these people, they're not ready to buy, hang up. I get the volume play, but I also know the volume play burnout, and this is that different than that. This is you just actually providing value, helping people, having a real conversation and moving the needle forward. So we don't need more leads. We just need to be better within our conversations, and we need to focus on our conversations and create connections. And that will lead to a sustainable real estate business, which ultimately is absolutely the goal. So let's break it all down. First, we need to have conversations. We need to build curiosity within our conversations. Then we need to become aligned. We need to understand exactly what's going on right here, right now. Then we future pace. Then we identify the gap. Then we, find that mini win. We make that connection. We have that value transfer. And then, we can keep it, hey, did this help you? Would you like me to continue to keep an eye out for you? When can I check in with you? And you can have those light CTAs in there if that salesperson just has to come out. But this is exactly how it goes. This is soft and relational, and it builds high trust, and it makes people realize that they're not walking away with a real estate agent who will focus on one transaction. They're walking away with a lifetime asset of somebody who understands the real estate market at high levels and is willing to connect you with anybody, even if there is no, immediate payoff for them. And that's exactly what it is. So if you are stepping back and you are wondering, what am I going to do with my business in 2026? I urge you to look at this framework and see if it will work. The more conversations you have, the more exponentially your business can grow. And if you're interested in getting coached just like this, just like I did here, please comment Carbon Collective Launch below. We'll get you that 14-day pass. Doesn't matter what brokerage you're at. And then we will move the needle forward in your business, regardless of, where you're at, what you're doing. This is the stuff that can change your life and your business in 2026. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you next time.